Been in too many situations where you got a guy who last week had an enormous amount of power and made all these changes, and then the following week, where is he? There you go. Oh, he's working for another company now. Okay, what do we do with the initiative? Well, yeah, it's gone. Okay. The last bullet, keep the focus on the competition and how the changes will support a winning strategy. That's really the key. You know, or to put it in another way that might be even more motivating, if we don't do this, if we don't innovate, if we don't work more efficiently, right? If we aren't more effective, if we don't improve our quality, right? If we can't hold on to our people, right? We're going to lose. You know, because somebody out there is making it work. You can be sure of that. So, how do we know whether it's working? Well, this is very often where things fall down. How do we know everybody understands their role? And the more roles you can assign in a matrix, the better. But they have to be very clear. How do we know if we're succeeding? What indicators suggest we should change our approach? I'm going to show you one, and this also comes out of aerospace. You might have encountered it if you're in manufacturing or other industries. So it's called the RACIC. What it does is it assigns a task or a role to each person that is involved in a matrix situation, because not everybody has the same level of input or responsibility, right? Somebody is, or maybe several people who are responsible for a particular thing, and you can actually put names in here, you know, for the tasks that need to be done. So let's say in a good functioning matrix, you have somebody who is responsible, somebody who needs to give approval, you have people who provide support, others who need to be kept informed, and some that need to be consulted, like me. No, just, there's so that and those roles have to be clearly defined in your own terms about what that is. And this was very effective for the aerospace group and a lot of the others who have adopted it. Just to force people to talk about roles and to indicate that, you know, just because you're not responsible for this doesn't mean you don't have an important role. And I'm going to come to you I expect you to have support. You know, I need your support. I'll give you a quick example. One project we did that had to get a software product out on the street in a relatively short term. I mean, a very complex bulk data kind of thing that required a lot of programming and all. And I don't know if there are any data center people here, but working with IT folks, most of you have had some experience with that. Anytime you tell them, yeah, we need to get this done, they'll tell you, sure, 2014, maybe, right? Oh man, I'm just loaded up with stuff, you know. And so that doesn't work. So what we did was we got all the people involved in the room at the same time, where we had marketing was there, IT, quality control, sales, there were a couple others. And one of the fascinating things about that particular project was that these people, they were all senior people in their own functional areas. Well, the first time they came in the room, half of them introduced themselves to the other person. These people had been with the company, some of them for 10 years, and had never interacted. I found that stunning. So just there, we made a little bit of headway. But it was the interesting part of it, at least from a matrix perspective, was that I said, okay, this is the drop dead date. This is when we have to have this thing done. How are we going to do it? And everybody said, can't be done. Can't be done. So what I did with one of my colleagues is we had, I don't know if you have it, butcher paper, you know, a roll of these roll papers, and we put it around the room and built a calendar, right? And we put the drop dead date on it. And we said, okay, let's play a game. I mean, you're here anyway. Your day is, you know, you're here. I'm not letting you out. So let's say we can do it. Working backwards from the due date, what would have to get done at various stages in order for this to happen? No, can't do it. I said, well, why can't you do it? Well, IT guy says, well, you know, it has to go through quality control. Quality control, you know, they take forever. You know, we couldn't possibly get it ready. Quality control says, no, well, if I had 2 weeks. So we ran up and wrote it down, right? To quality control by such and such a date. And to make a long story shorter, essentially what started to happen was as we backed into this thing, they started to realize that in fact it could be done because we made it concrete and they had to work together. Now there's one other piece to this puzzle, and that was since these people obviously either by choice or circumstance were having difficulty interacting since they didn't even know each other, what we did was we actually scheduled 2 offsites where they were able to set up hour-long, or if they needed more time, longer appointments to meet with each other to resolve the issues that they had as they were working through this program. And the project came in a month early. And that's the magic of the matrix, when you can get a bunch of people thinking and working together at that level. So, it's already out there. It's happening, right? Whether you like it or not. To meet the demands of the marketplace, you have to use cross-functional structures. To be able to innovate effectively, you have to get people to cooperate across functional lines. And whether you do it formally or whether it happens out of necessity is largely up to the way managers and others in the organization who have influence on this handle it. The key to making it work, though, whether it already exists in some nascent form or whether you want to experiment with it, is to provide the level of support that it needs to live in the organization. And if that's communication issues, if that's training issues, if they're strategic issues, all of those things need to be addressed. It simply can't be drawn on a piece of paper and have the expectation that it's going to happen. All right? So, ça va. Right?